And what up? We're
Yeah.
back.
We're back.
Like we never
We
left.
got another
Oh, I
guest.
like this. I like this already.
Yeah, we got a great guest out here. We got the comic, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ian John, all the way from Wisconsin. What's up, Ian?
Wisconsin. Great.
Yeah, how was your flight?
Great. Last time I came back from Wisconsin, I drove.
How was the drive from Wisconsin? I feel like that'd be a bitch.
It's all right. Missouri's prettier than you think, but also way scarier than you think. So it's a nice mix of like. I remember stopping for gas in like 2 seconds in a gas station. I was like, I'm just gonna go. I'll just run out.
Was
I
it
don't
like
care.
a downtown, like St. Louis?
No, St. Louis. I was planning on driving further than I did the first leg, and St. Louis traffic was so fucking insane. I got off at the first exit. Like I got out of St. Louis and stopped and slept because it was so gnarly. And like I know a lot of people in recovery that are from St. Louis, and that place fucking sucks. Like 99% of people in treatment in Austin, St. Louis.
We all love St.
Like
Louis.
for real.
So is it weird, like when you're doing like a drive like that, and like most people when they drive, they take like when I drive across the country, like I usually am like drinking like crazy energy drinks, drinking like Adderall, like taking Adderall or something like that.
Drinking
So like
Adderall.
you know, I gotta stay awake for the drive. So like you're not able to do any of that. Like you don't do anything like that when you drive.
Not now, no.
That must make that even like a lot harder. Like driving across the country without Adderall.
Well,
like,
I've seen you pound caffeine, so
Have you?
Yeah.
You saw me drink a fucking coffee.
you had 4 cans of like some kind of cold brew in a can.
No, that was the same one every time.
What?
Yeah, that was one. That was one can of cold brew. You kept seeing me check to see if it was empty.
It was 4 different cans.
No. That was Spencer had one and I had one. I just kept checking to see if there was any in there, and you were like, "It's fucking empty, dude."
You checked like
So,
3
yes,
times, and I'm like, it's still empty. No one refilled
So you
it.
can still tell I'm a caffeine addict through that experience. But yeah, no, I do espresso at home.
Okay.
And put it in a blender
Ooh.
bottle and like
I got this espresso, dog.
with almond milk and
Ooh.
protein powder, and that's like my breakfast. But it's like a full thing of espresso, way more than the normal person would need.
How many shots on you? 17 shots
Yeah.
of espresso.
Well, my roommate, when I was in sober living, turned me onto it. You get like those ones you put on the stove, and you like do like a sip, and you're like good. And he's like, "Careful, it's fucking habit forming." And I was like, "Ah." But now I do a full one. The whole bottom chamber, I do a full one every morning.
Holy shit. That's
Yeah.
How many milligrams of caffeine is that?
I don't want to know, because at some point I want to stop, but like you can't just stop caffeine
No, caffeine will fuck you up if you try to stop it. Like
for like a while.
yeah, caffeine's like they say that like caffeine withdrawals are like worse than like alcohol withdrawal, like almost as bad as like alcohol withdrawals, if not worse. Like caffeine withdrawals are like almost the worst than like heroin and shit. I don't know what's worse, heroin or caffeine.
I don't know. I've never contemplated like sucking someone's dick in an alley for a Dunkin' iced coffee.
For a Dunkaccino?
Then you haven't been addicted to caffeine hard enough,
Well, I mean,
I'm so sensitive.
there's an
to
availability of the things though, right?
right?
Like if heroin was like $1.39 at 7-Eleven, you know,
no one would be sucking.
it wouldn't be an issue. By the way, it's kind of gnarly down here, isn't it?
There's a lot of the
caffeine. Oh yeah.
the drogas out here.
Yeah. I was like, I stopped at a 7-Eleven off of, I was down by Metropolis or whatever, like on the way in, and
Yeah.
areas that used to excite me are now like terrifying to me. That's how I know I've changed as a person. Because normally I'd be like, oh, there's a dude digging through a dumpster, like he knows where to get dope, right? Like I made it to where it happens, but now I'm like, Jesus Christ.
This is what I'm looking for.
I'm
Yeah.
home.
Yeah, the psychic change is like, holy fuck, that's terrifying.
Oh shit! That's
And I gave him money. I always give him money. Like, you know, I get it.
What do they spend their money on? Just more drugs, or do
Yeah,
they
I
spend
mean-
it on food usually too?
I don't know, like keep tabs on them. When I was homeless doing drugs, 100% of the money went to drugs. Everything else was like, we'll find it.
Did
or
you
take it.
say like, oh, can I get something to eat to people, and that usually worked?
No, I
Did
didn't.
you have a line, like a go-to line?
I didn't have that ability. Like people who fly signs or like ask for money. Like I was like, it was so. I did it once for like an hour, and I was like, I'm just gonna go burgle. Like there's like there's like a sense of accomplishment from stealing as opposed to like begging, which is so fucked up to say, but like that's how I operated.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
Well,
like-
it makes sense. Like, I
Yeah,
know, like,
yeah,
begging,
yeah.
you're just kind of like there, but at least stealing, you're like, you got to be at least like somewhat like stealthy, you know? You got to like outwit somebody.
Are
And
there
like, sorry, go ahead.
are there like homeless cliques, like the Steelers, the panhandlers?
You know,
The
I never
Steelers.
thought of it that way,
The
but yeah,
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
there is. There's like, there
That's
was, yeah.
fascinating.
And I was in with a couple, which is bad because like they're a couple and like being in a regular relationship is hard enough. Mixing in heroin and homelessness, and then this guy is like just so bad. Like,
Were you like, did you ever like do, like, were you ever with a girl that did like you did drugs with? Was that like a thing?
yes, not while homeless, but yes.
Okay. Because I
Yeah.
feel like that's where it always, I feel like a girl's always involved in it somehow. Like, no one ever just like went crazy and without a girl involved in it somehow.
You don't think so?
I mean, maybe they did.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No. I feel like so. Like, there's usually not like it does happen, but there's usually not like a regular person who's with a using addict. Like that's
Right.
usually not the case. They're usually both using or neither, right?
Neither, right,
But there
right.
is, of course, exceptions. to the
No,
rule.
I've seen people that are with people that are like addicts that aren't addicts.
It's either like starting, you know, they haven't like gone off the deep end, you know, like
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
still like able to like maintain in functional society. And well, like you can't be, cause
Yeah, I mean,
like I feel like if you're to the point where you're doing like heroin to the point where you're like strung out and you lost your job, if you're with a normal person, I put that in quotes, whatever that means, they're gonna be like, either we got to get you help or I got to get away from you. Like they can't,
Yeah.
they're not going to be able
Yeah.
to like maintain that. So maybe they could like be there for like the downward spiral, but they're not going to just be like,
Yeah.
they go down to the streets at night, but we're still together. Like that's not.
Yeah, no.
going to my boyfriend's for Thanksgiving. It's just like behind an alley.
Yeah, right?
Oh,
he
God.
invited me to Christmas, but
Here, the rats will pass the mashed potatoes.
We're eating over a trash fire. If you guys want to, no. This is bringing back so much stuff that I've like forgotten about. Yeah, it's
Sorry,
fucking-
I don't want to trigger
No.
anything.
You won't. This is a great reminder of what I don't want. Right.
Trash fire.
People who truly love you, like it's easy to look at other people and be like, oh, they should break up. But like when you truly care about somebody, it's hard to just kick them to the curb. And plus, drug addicts are really mean and manipulative. So like, if you yell at somebody long enough, they'll be like, all right, here's some money. Fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my mom was a very good not enabler.
not enabler.
No, she was.
Okay.
When I was doing pills and shit, I started with like OxyContin and then heroin and then meth. You know, classic pattern, right?
Yeah, this is the classic.
The huge boring. I would call her and pretend like I just want to know how she was doing, but really I was going to ask for money.
Right.
And she'd be like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "I'm just calling to talk." She's like, "No, you're not." And she would just like hang up, which was like really painful in the moment.
Right.
But like it served me greatly, like when I got it together. Because
Okay.
like you know what I mean. Like she could have sent me money and it could have killed me.
Yeah, right.
She didn't want to be a part of that. So
Okay.
thanks, Mom. She'll watch this. Thanks, Mom.
Sure.
So was she like that from the jump, or did she like reach a breaking point?
I think when it got bad, it was a breaking point. Like, yeah, I want to say so. Yeah, I don't think when it like really became a problem, and when I wasn't living at home, like enough was enough, and like you just put people through like pain, like the pain I've put on people. I can't even imagine it. I don't know what it's like to be my mom, worried about where the fuck I am every day.
Right.
No clue. So like in the moment, I'm like, fucking bitch wouldn't give me any money. Wouldn't even talk to me on the phone. It's like that's not what happened.
Yeah, right.
She knew what you were up to, and she just didn't want any part of it. So
Are you and your mom close now?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. She
that's-
will watch this. Yeah, I'll try not to.
Oh, she really will watch this.
She will watch
I
this,
thought
yeah.
you were joking. Like she was gonna.
No. So
I say my mom will watch this, and she'll never watch this.
I think she will. She always asks. My family was traditionally not supportive of me doing comedy until they saw it. And my mom was down here visiting like a month ago, and I had a
okay.
show at the Romo Room, and my mom and my stepdad saw me do comedy, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we get it."
Was that the first time they seen you do comedy?
first time they'd ever seen me do it?
Wow.
Because how long you been doing comedy?
A while.
Yeah, like you've been in the game for a minute.
On and off for like 10 years.
Okay.
Wow, yeah.
Mostly heroin. But like you can't do both. I couldn't do both. You know what I mean? I couldn't do both.
So did comedy a part of you getting into like the heroin, or like what was it like?
No.
that kinda,
I
like, led down that path.
I started in either 2010 or 2011, and I did it
Heroin or comedy?
both.
But I started at the same time. They went
So
hand in hand.
I was already on drugs when I started comedy in Madison, Wisconsin, and
Oh, you were already doing drugs when you started comedy.
Yeah. I left my hometown because shit was getting so bad. I was like, if I just move, I won't do drugs anymore.
Right.
Not how that works at all. not at all how
So
that
I went to Milwaukee.
Yeah. I found myself driving from Madison to Edgerton or Janesville, where I'm from, every single day, or as much as I could, right? Mm-hmm. So I was in a band for a long time, and then, I've just fucked everything up, fucked over the band, and just skip over that, fucked everybody over, blah, blah, blah. And then I wanted to try comedy, so I did an open mic, and it I don't know, I'll ask you guys how your first time went. My first time, I'll never capture how great it was again. I still tell some of those jokes from that first set.
Really?
Yeah, my first set was good.
Did you write everything out? Did you have anything planned, or were you
I
just
wrote
riffing?
everything out, thought of some stuff on the walk down, and it was mostly all comics, but when you see somebody new come into the scene,
Yeah.
you can watch them and just enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Not that I don't enjoy watching people now, but
Yeah,
you
you're
know-
rooting
I know
for
what
them.
jokes Holly's gonna tell.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Right,
No,
right.
you don't.
Cracker Barrel.
I'm way more sick of it than you are. Trust me.
Same thing when you guys moved here. When you, Paul and Jesse did WTF, I was like, holy fuck, these guys are great. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And I still think that, but seeing a different thing here was that's fucking awesome. Same thing when I saw, when you moved here, it's just cool to see that. So I think that's what I was for them. But to me, it felt like I didn't know they were comics. I thought they were just people.
Right.
So I just I murdered, and I was on, I was on drugs. So I was pacing around the stage and really feeling myself.
Right.
And the manager of the comedy club on State was there, and he's like, "Hey, we're doing the funniest person in Madison competition. You should sign up." And I was like, "Hell yeah, I'm already the best at this." And I
fucking made it.
I made every rookie mistake you make, just like everybody does. This was a week later. I was like, oh, obviously I have to write all new jokes. I went up there and bombed so fucking hard. So bad. So fucking bad. I got off stage, nobody, I got a laugh at the end. The way you get a laugh of fuck you guys, that was funny, or
Yeah.
thank God I saw the light, or whatever you say when you're
right.
just bombing your dick off.
Oh yeah.
And I went straight to the bar and ordered 4 shots of vodka, and the bartender was looking around for people to join me, and I was like, nah, this is all for me. So within a month, I learned both things that can happen, or not both things, but as good as you can do and as shitty as you can do, right away.
Yeah, that
Yep.
feeling right there, yo.
But then it was on and off for I was too scared to go back to Comedy Club on State to do their open mic, so I would just do this mic. It was at the pub, which doesn't mean anything. It's not even there anymore. There was only 2 mics in town at the time. So I'd do this Monday mic and have fun with it and do the Monday mic. And then after a couple months, I was like, I'm going to go back to the Comedy Club on State, right?
Right.
Had a good set there, right? And then after 3 months of that, things were going good, but I was still just super into OxyContin.
Yeah.
OxyContin wins every time.
It's hard to break.
It's so good.
How did you get into OxyContin? Were you did one of those stories where you had a surgery or something and they gave it to you?
No, this is it's a story though. I got
all the time in the world.
I have this scar right here. That's from working with my dad cutting a piece of tile, and it broke and cut me open. And I was 18 years old, and they gave me a ton of Vicodin, and I did the fuck out of it. But it didn't hook me yet, but it was enjoyable and
Right.
kind of planted a seed. And I remember selling the last of it or whatever. Mm-hmm. Never cut tile again. That was it. My construction days are fucking behind me. And then years later, this is from my perspective. I love you if you watch this. My parents were splitting up, which is Mom, it's fine. It's fine. Everything happened the way it happened. I love you both.
How old were you when your parents split up?
Old enough to where it wasn't devastating. I was 23, 24.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat right now.
They were like, we're getting divorced. I'm like, all right. That's cool.
yeah.
That's cool.
It's about time.
And so, yeah. Like, all right. I mean, do whatever you want to do, right? Don't do it for us. And my mom was seeing this guy, which was fine, and she didn't come home for a weekend, and there was a domestic. I'll skip over this part, Mom. It was a domestic thing. this dude kind of beat up on my mom, right? And she didn't come home. And like when I found out what had happened, I was like, great, I'm going to commit murder. This is going to be awesome. And I was going to get a gun. And like it sounded good in my head. I probably wouldn't have been able to pull it off. But I was like, I'm going to get my shotgun and I'm going to guess where this guy lives. And I'm going to fucking kill him, right? Like my mind was made up. I was like, I'm fucking... And I was in line at the DMV when I got the call of what happened. And like that, I wish I still had that license picture. Just... so fucking angry about the world, right? And you're at the DMV, so you're already unhappy, and then you hear this about your favorite person on earth, and you're just like, great, all right, let's go kill somebody.
I'm gonna do it.
So I called my cousin, and I was like, hey, come pick me up. And he's like, what are we doing? I was like, we're gonna commit murder. Like, what do you think we're doing? And he came and picked
Tuesday, dude.
He came and picked me up, and he took me to my uncle's house, and they were like, yeah. Oh, like they were like fake enthusiasm. Like, yeah, totally, we'll go kill him. We'll totally go kill him for sure. He was like, but before we do that, why don't you do this? And they cut me up a line of OxyContin, and I snorted it, and it put me out. And what I learned was that like this was like on the edge of committing murder. Wasn't the first time I felt like that, but no, that was the first time. Wasn't the last time. Gonna commit murder to I'm just gonna lay down for a little bit and everything's okay. So yes, it felt great, but I learned like this makes shit go away. Right. So like that's when I tried it.
Yeah.
That was like, okay, this makes everything go away. But then you do it too much and you're like, this creates more problems. But like if they don't make real OxyContin anymore because of all the people it's killed.
Yeah.
But if they did, I'd be having a different year. You know what I mean?
it's like
it was a hard one to get rid of. Oh, it makes you so sick. But yeah,
it's like
they don't make it. They don't make it anymore. What
they still make it, but it's harder to. You can't like break it down.
It's like you remember when they used to make Four Locos and they used to make the original Four Locos and they had like the caffeine in there and the kids were dying and they're like, we need to change this recipe.
I played Flip Cup with Four Loko, and then the next morning I woke up and had a panic attack.
Dude, what was in that?
I've never tried. 4 days later.
No one knows. No one asks questions.
I've never tried a Four Loko.
Bro, the original
Four
Loko,
crazy.
It was like you would take like a remember like a Spike energy drink?
Oh yeah.
It's like you mix that with like crazy amounts of like
Red
alcohol.
Bull's cousin that got back from prison.
Yeah, it's like
I've learned a few things on the inside.
Red Bull had nothing on like the amount of caffeine in the original Four Loko. So that shit used to like fuck you up. And then you wouldn't realize how fucked up you were until like the energy wore off and then you just be the alcohol that you would just chug like shots on shots on shots to the face and you were just gone. It was fucking right.
That's what it was. So it was basically somebody that was like, I get so tired when I drink. Is there a way to stay awake?
Yeah. I don't want to do cocaine, but
yeah. I never tried it, but when I was homeless, I was with a dude who drank one, and he was like so fucked up.
Bro,
and I couldn't figure out. I was like, he had one.
Bro, one would be enough for the night. If you had two, blackout guaranteed. Like, you're not going to remember the fucking night.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like what were the flavors? It was like golds. They didn't even have flavors. They were just
like
metals. They were just named after metals.
There was blue, purple, and like yellow. I remember.
And gold.
And like red. Yeah, I just remember.
I remember there was gold because me and my roommates all had we all had a night when I was a junior in college. We played Never Have I Ever and drank Four Loko.
But that was the bootleg recipe when you were in college. I believe they'd already remixed it.
Oh shit!
Really? It was like last summer, right? How old are you?
24.
Yeah. So a couple years ago.
Oh, so I never experienced the real Four Loko.
The original Four Loko was like they stopped that when I was in college. They stopped making.
Yeah,
what year was that?
I mean, I got to college in 2008 and left in 2012.
I definitely was not in college in 2008.
Yeah, if you were in college by 2012, you got the remix recipe. The original Four Locos though would end your fucking world just one time.
It would have killed you. You're
well, now I just feel like a pussy.
Your BMI is too small. You're too small for that, which is fine. Yeah. And just real quick, I want to say I don't blame my parents or anybody for my addiction. I just want to say that in case my mom's upset.
So you start doing Oxy, and like so then you just like, are you just trying to find Oxy all the time, or like what happens?
I knew this this kind of shithead dude that I worked with, who he could like get me weed from his aunt and stuff, and that was cool. Mm-hmm. And like OxyContin was such a rarity, you'd only see it from time to time. So when you got one, you were like, oh, this will be a fun little weekend.
Right.
So I could never find it regularly. And he kept trying to sell me crack, and I just wasn't into it. I was like, I don't want any. I never heard anything great about it.
I've never seen someone be like, "This crack is awesome."
And he was one of those like annoying, like, you know how like Forrest Gump people in real life just suck. Like it's not a feel good story, and they're just telling you about their whole life. You're like, I don't give like. It was just annoying, and he would just show up and like bitch about his girlfriend, and I was just like trying to. He would like try to put like crack into my weed to like get me into it.
Let me sprinkle some crack in
Just
your
the
weed.
worst kind of Forrest Gump.
Yeah, how do you not notice that there's crack in
So
your
how
did
is
every
this
time.
guy
I
like
did every
Forrest
time.
Gump?
He's like, damn, you found me. Like,
I'm still not sure how this guy's like Forrest Gump. I'm still trying to figure out where they're
Because
connected.
Forrest Gump
Forrest Gump?
sat down and told people his entire life story.
Have you ever watched
okay.
Forrest Gump?
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole movie is him sitting on a bench telling
Talking
some
about it.
Pete Random his life story.
Which modern times
yeah.
AirPods are in. I don't.
Yeah,
we're not
yeah.
having. It's not happening.
Yeah, like someone tried to tell you that story, just be like, oh, cool. I'm getting the fuck out of
But
here.
people who do that to you in public, that just dump on you, never have a fun, feel good story.
Yeah.
It's always the worst case scenario.
Yeah, for sure.
But he was like, I just wanted him to go away, and he was like trying to make money and hustle by trying to get me addicted to crack. And I was like, if you come back with OxyContin, I'll buy all of it. And thinking he was about to go on a goose chase, right? He was never going to come back. He was back 30 minutes later with like a giant bag full, and I was, and at the time I was excited.
Wait.
Swear to God.
This whole time he had the oxys, but he just kept trying to sell you crack.
No, he just knew where to get it. He didn't know what I wanted. He was just trying to make a sale, and
I
like
see.
his aunt had it, and
Okay.
she had like an illness, and but she didn't, like, when you take those and you're not an addict, like, you just sleep all the time. She's got kids, wants to see them, right?
Right.
So she was just stockpiling them and then, waiting for me, I guess. And he came over with, like, a bag full, and I was like, holy shit. Like, I was like Christmas, right? But that turned into, like, a real problem.
No, yeah, this bag of OxyContin.
The whole thing started as a goof. I was just trying to get him out of my house, and he came right back. When he knocked on the door, I was like, "There's no fucking way!" Like through the peephole, with like a bag.
Do you think if that hadn't happened, you wouldn't have got hooked on it because it was like so hard to find?
I don't know. It's hard to say because like I was always attracted to it. Anything that like people were afraid of, I was like kind of into. Like before that, I did like coke for like a whole summer when I was like 18 or 19. I did the fuck out of it and loved it, and then I moved and like just couldn't find it as much. But I drank all the time, like whatever it was I was into.
You went in, like
Yeah.
you just went hard. Yeah, you
Yeah,
got that type
yeah.
of personality that whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
you're gonna push to like the extreme limits. of
Usually,
that.
not so much anymore, but yeah. Like
Were you like that as a kid? Like, were you like the kid that wouldn't shut up about like trains or something? Like, you got so into something, you just only talked about that.
I like sharks. No,
Were
no.
you autistic as a child? Is what
I
she's
think so.
asking.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I was. I had
It was
childhood
talked
autism.
about, but never mentioned to me. I always heard conversations about like, "What's wrong with me?" Wait, what? No, no son of mine. And no, I think as a kid, I was like kind of just scared of everything. I was very quiet, very shy.
You think that has anything to do
That's
with it?
interesting.
Because like for me as a kid, I grew up in like a really religious family.
Yeah.
So that meant like when I got as an adult, I was like all those things that were like stopped that I was like told I was gonna die if I did as a kid. Then as an adult, I was like, well, let me try it. So like in the same way, like all the things that you were like, like as a kid, you're like, I'm scared of trying everything, but then you get adult, it's like I've been scared my whole life. Let me like be the exact opposite. Do you ever feel like that was like a thing?
A little bit, yeah. I remember like my cousins and friends that were older than me like kind of got into like drinking and like smoking cigarettes and stuff, and I was like terrified of it. I was like, I'll never do that. And then, but then
Little
like,
did you know.
then,
Flashback.
but then you try it and you're like,
Flash
oh, this is
forward.
pretty great.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
But it started normally with just like, like when you're in high school and you like get like some beers for you and your friends and like you
Yeah.
can't even get through them and you're just
like,
having the
this
best
is
time.
But you're just like,
What was your first drink?
So sorry.
Oh, good.
I'm not COVID is what I have. Did you know there's other things you can get sick from?
Nope.
No.
Anything is just every.
Not
stillness
according
is-
to the stats.
I know. It was a nerve-wracking
All the other
week with
illnesses
a
went
cough,
away.
yeah. Just
If
like
you
a
cough
regular-
in public, everyone's like, "We're gonna murder this
you
guy."
can't
with COVID.
do it anymore.
Bro, I went to the airport and I had to sneeze, and I'm sitting there like, I'm on the flight, and I'm just trying to hold in the sneeze. I'm just like,
Yeah, you
choking,
gotta, like-
just trying to hide in the sneeze because I'm like, I'm
have
not
to
even
leave
the person
town.
that- yeah, if you cough in public, throw me off the fucking plane. I'm out. Like,
It's so awful. Did either of you travel in the beginning of COVID?
I traveled all throughout COVID.
I took a flight, and probably the first time I left was like probably like July of 2020, like that summer I traveled. And I was
Yeah.
like, I just remember being on the plane, like if someone, like people were like, bro, that
Dude, if you
those were
coughed at the
serious.
airport, all eyes went on you.
Yeah.
It was fucking wild.
There was no one on the flight though. I remember I got a whole row of 3 seats
Yes,
by myself,
yes.
and I just laid the fuck out on my way to Alaska.
I had to fly. I flew back home for a funeral last March, or not? Was it last March? I don't know. Whenever it started, I
Yeah, that
flew
was
back home
March,
for a
yeah.
2
funeral
years
in
ago.
March.
I was-
And they were like,
that's
"Do you want
2020.
first class?" Because there's like nobody on this plane, and I was like, "Hell yeah, I do. That's exactly what I want. That's exactly what I want."
Wow, yes,
And,
I do on first class.
Yeah, and it was just so wild, and like they give you food and shit. It was
yeah.
crazy.
Bro, first class is pretty dope. I got upgraded to first class one time, and I was like, man, if I ever get money, I'm only flying first class, bro.
Oh,
like,
for
if I-
sure.
There's no other. Yeah, I'd just be leaning back in the chair, fucking putting a blanket over me, as I can fucking get all the food and alcohol I want. Like, what
I
am
want first class.
Yeah, first class is.
And everyone else in
quality.
first class has done it before, so I was like, I was so excited, and this was so routine for them.
Yeah, they're
So routine.
right.
Can I get a coffee? And they're like, you can. I was like, yes. Yes.
It's like, yeah, we're not
But if-
peasants.
You mean I don't get a Ziploc bag full of pretzels thrown at me?
No, you do. You get that too.
Oh.
You get to throw them at other people. It was great.
You're actually the
like
one that gets
fucking-
to throw.
I felt like such a fraud being up there. Such a fraud. But to answer your question, I think the first thing I can remember drinking was Jack Daniels.
Same.
And then chasing it with chocolate syrup.
Okay,
How old
not
were you
same.
when you first drank? The first time you drank.
15 or 16, I think. And it wasn't like, it was one of those things of like, are we drunk? I think we're drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Like we weren't sure.
Yeah.
That's great. The first time I got drunk, I was pretty sure I was drunk, but I'd never been drunk before. But because I was drinking Zimas, I drank like 10
Hell
Zimas.
yeah.
What are
Ben Bow and
Zimas?
some Zimas.
Some Zimas. They don't even of all the things that left and came back. Why haven't Zimas come back?
What are these? What are Zimas?
Zima is like the prototype for like, I want to say before like Smirnoff Ice and like
Yeah.
those types of drinks.
Oh,
Before
okay.
It
all
was
of
like a
that.
clear, like kind of sexy, low calorie, like.
Like in like with the same like type of bottle. We had
Yeah,
we
yeah.
had, like it was like
Like a Mike's Hard,
kind of like that.
Okay.
shit.
Classier.
Like a classier version, and it was
less
like,
heartburn.
Yeah, we drank those and Mike's,
Mike's
Hard. I remember, and I got
Heartburn.
like drank like 10 Zimas, and I was buzzing. I was like 13, and I was talking shit at a birthday party.
Yeah, it was like also like a joke. Like, what are you gonna drink, a Zima? You fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it
it was like a kind of known as like a girly drink,
Yeah,
sort of.
it was pretty girly.
If you were, you know what's crazy
it
is
was
that
delicious though. By the way,
is that
delicious.
White Claw, which I've never had. I did not like when I see men ordering it at the bar. I'm like,
Kind of
what?
overrated.
It's not.
It
even
just surprises me that it's so popular. That because that's like the current Zima is like a
the
White
White Claw. Yeah, because that one
And
dude
the
made it.
Truly.
That one dude made it super popular. That Trevor Wallace.
Trevor Wallace did. Yeah, he did. He
Oh.
made that video.
He
yeah,
was
yeah,
just
yeah.
here. He was at
Yeah,
Creek.
he was at Creek. I saw him at the Woo Ha Ha Comedy Club in Worcester, and he did that whole summer. He's
Is
like,
he
"Ain't no-"
funny?
He's a really good sketch comic.
He's his
I've never
TikToks
seen
are
his
funny, but, like,
stand-up.
his
You've answered
stand-up-
my question. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was just
same-
curious if his stand up was good because like he
Bridges
did-
burn.
He did Bridges burn. I no
Just
the
kidding.
Bang energy drink thing is one of my favorite fucking like.
Yeah, he did that whole thing with "Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws," and that became like the quote of the
Oh,
summer.
that's who started
That's
that?
him,
who started
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, ain't no laws
Wow.
when. Yeah, so he blew up. I saw him when he came to Worcester. He didn't do. He was doing 45 minutes, and it was very up and down because he didn't have 45 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, the stuff that he had, like people just went there to see him, you know. And he's a funny guy. He's a nice guy. His feature was a monster, though. He had a feature do 15, and his feature
Who was it?
This dude from I don't even remember. He was from like Chicago or something with him. His name was like Alex like Dragovich or something like that. And he was
Okay.
just a monster.
Bro, you know Dragovich?
fucking Dragovich.
Bro's a
dude.
fucking monster.
He sounds like he has
Yeah.
the word drag in his name, like
Yeah,
dragon.
he was. So yeah, he was cool, and I met him. He was super cool. Like Trevor isn't like. I mean, a lot of those people though that do those tours and never have the time, like they just stopped eventually. But like Trevor, I mean, I saw him doing the Moon Tower, so I think he's gotten a little bit.
Yeah,
better.
he did something.
I have to pee. I'll be right back.
Okay, we'll just keep
Thank
going.
goodness. For
I saw
You
the
start
Zima.
talking shit and then I'm editing it.
No,
like crying.
no, I would never. I was just curious if his stand up was good
This
because
is
like
like-
there's like a new career path with YouTube and stuff to where like he can pack out a fucking room, but he hasn't been like grinding stand up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of that. That's pretty much what it is now. It's like
Yeah.
if you just have enough followers and can sell tickets, it doesn't really matter if you're funny or not.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
really the thing is like how many tickets can you sell? And if you could sell a certain amount of tickets at a certain amount of price, then you will have you regardless of how like funny or good at stand-up
Right,
you
and
are.
they'll be entertained because it's you. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
totally
they're-
like a path.
Yeah, it is a path, and they're just like, and most of the people they're gonna remember like the one funny thing, and they're gonna take a picture for their Instagram and post it. They're not gonna remember like your full stand up for. They're
Right.
not gonna remember that the middle of your 45-minute set of comedy sucked. Like they're not. It's not what the people are gonna remember.
Like, what would you be expecting? Like him to like be Kyle or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like what? That's what I would be expecting. But to have him do stand up would still be cool. You know what I mean? Like if you're a fan and like.
Yeah. And he'll tell like stories that he does like from his like TikToks and stuff. You know,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like some of the like. You ever think of whatever this, and then he'll do that on stage, and people will be like, we love this
Oh,
guy.
that's smart.
Yeah,
That's good
it's-
marketing.
Bro, I mean, I'm not even mad at the new hustle, you know? Like, it's like...
No,
if
it's
I could-
exciting.
Yeah.
As far as like keepers of the gate are like, they're still relevant, but like, you know what I mean? Like you can just make it by being.
Yeah, you don't need gatekeepers anymore.
Yeah.
But it's weird, like, in a city like Austin, because, like, if you really do like the thing, like, stand-up comedy is a thing in itself, you know?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like, I always tell people, always like, oh, I want to get into comedy. I'm like, well, ask yourself, like, are you trying to be, like, famous, or do you actually like stand-up comedy?
Do you want to be a pure stand-up? Do you
Yeah.
want to be a writer? Like what?
Because there's
what do you
plenty of
wanna
different
do?
things that you can do, but like stand up in itself is a very specific thing
Yeah,
in terms
yeah.
of like all it is just that moment of when you're like physically on stage and doing it. Like that's the extent of that.
Yeah.
And you have to like that if you want to like get into stand up comedy and like open mic comedy and stuff. You have to enjoy that, or else you're gonna hate it.
Yeah, it's a fucking grind, dude. It's not for everyone. So many people, I know a lot of people who we're super talented, but we're just like, I don't like the grind anymore. I'm fucking done with it.
It wears you down. It literally is exactly that, a grind. Like it
Yeah.
just wears you down. And we've
Always
seen,
tired, broke,
we've seen a lot of people.
Oh.
jealous of others.
I've
Oh my
never
God.
been so broken. This is the most broken tired I've been in my life, I think.
You're 24 though. You'll be all right.
You
You'll be
bounce back.
fine.
You
You'll be
got,
fine.
you got 24-year-old
Get
energy.
espresso in your life.
I was like trying to reuse the same razor for as long as possible because razors are so expensive now.
I feel like that's a laziness thing. I don't know if that's.
No, it's
Financially.
it's a financial
Can you
thing.
buy like a men's razors? I feel like men's razors are pretty inexpensive.
Is there a difference?
Yeah.
The pink tax.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. If you buy like a men's razor, is that cheaper?
And then I'm gonna grow a beard. That's what happens.
That's what happens? Is that how that
Oh
happens?
shit! Then I'm buying the wrong razors.
Yeah,
I've
same,
been buying
yeah.
these fucking women's razors the whole time. Can't grow shit. This is a month of growing this out.
I don't want to have this
29
at all.
days.
That's a month.
It's about 29 days.
That's like the perfect
Oh,
amount.
wow.
I trimmed it, so it's been about 2 or 3 weeks.
That's
now.
the perfect amount. Yeah.
Yeah, this is about as far as it goes. Does your beard get gnarly?
It gets crazy. It gets like orange and red if I let it
Does
go
it
long
like
enough.
keep going like one of those beards that come in like all the way?
Yeah. I
When
did
you
it.
were homeless, did you have like a really long, scraggly beard?
No, I had a girlfriend at the time who lived in Minnesota, and I would go see her like once a month. She'd like clean me up, like wash me up.
Oh.
So the guy brings you the bag of Oxy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So then,
back to that.
yeah. So how does this journey go down? Because I'm really intrigued.
It
to
gets
see, like, how
foggy there
started.
for a bit.
You don't say.
It was exactly how like I could take it or leave it. There'd be days I didn't do it, and I just had it.
Right.
And it was precious at the time. And then I remember I was going to see Ryan Adams and the Cardinals at the Overture in Madison. And the day I woke up for that, I was like, oh my God, I don't feel good. I was like, I did not feel good. And I was like shitting my brains out. And I was like, oh no, this is dope sickness. And I hadn't been dope sick yet. And once I got to that, like, I love Ryan Adams and the Cardinals. I was so excited for this show. And like, fell asleep like for a couple of songs because I was so sick.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it was powerful. And I was like trying to get some in like in a panic before the show. And it was just like, oh, it was so fucking bad. And then I was working at a factory at the time. And I was getting oxys from this chick. The dude I rode with was giving me methadone pills. And like people that work there, like factories is just a fucking cesspool for drugs. Like I met a guy who sold Vicodin. Like it all like, whatever you're looking for, you'll find, right?
Right. For
Yeah.
Sure.
So I had it made, but I was like, that was probably the most money I ever made because we were working like crazy hours. And it felt like a lot of money at the time,
Right.
being young.
How old were you at this time? Like when at this point?
Oh, man. It was 2008, I want to say, or 2009. So I was probably like 20,
Because
22, 23, 24.
Were you-
Holly's age.
What year were you born? I mean, what year did you guys go to high school?
if I would have graduated, it would have been 2004.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was born in 86. I'm
Wow.
35.
Okay, yeah. So that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you're like.
I'm very old. I'm very old, Holly.
Yeah. So
Sorry
you
to
would've been-
break your heart
You're
with
only
that. But,
2 years older than Jesse and, 4 years older than Ben?
Yeah, I'm 31. So,
yeah.
you would have been.
I meant
like-
older than you, though, by like 11 years.
Yeah.
It's a creepy vibe, I know.
It's okay.
It's just a creepy
Yeah,
vibe.
Holly's creeping you out. If Holly's making you uncomfortable, dude. what
Holly,
the-
no. Holly's a sweetheart. It never makes me uncomfortable.
So that
She's a fucking crusher. Fucking crushes, bro.
Yeah.
And then leaves to go to kill Tony.
Oh, so cool.
I'm still mad at myself for that.
Why? Because he didn't get up?
No, because I didn't want to do that. I wanted to stay and do more crowd work and actually be in the moment in the show, and it felt super rushed.
Did you get up that night or no?
No.
Oh.
But Bianca
You
did, and Bianca was the one that convinced me to go.
Oh, well, that's cool. Then one of you got up.
Blame. No, just kidding.
That was a rough
Shout
one.
out to
for us
Bianca.
anyways. WTF's been a struggle lately. Ugh.
Has it? Yeah, I haven't done it
Football,
since...
man. Monday Night Football.
Oh,
Yeah, that's all it's
true.
been. Yeah.
Yeah. That's makes
I'm not a great promoter. I try. This week is the week I'm going to get it packed out again. But, yeah, drugs are scary. I don't recommend them. I don't recommend them.
Yeah, no,
I think
not
if you're in a
big fan.
place where you're like, I'm going to kill myself, then try drugs for sure.
Before you go.
Yeah, no, for sure. Drugs saved my life in like some regard. Like, oh, fuck.
So
Like, I'll do heroin again before I kill myself. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which might kill me, but you get what I'm
it'll
saying.
give you a little bit. Yeah,
I would
no,
prefer neither, but like, yeah, make one last stop.
No, I feel you. So you started doing that and just working at the factory because I feel like definitely when I work harder, I definitely partied harder. Like there was
Yeah.
like when I was working in corporate management, like when I was around the same age, probably 23 or so, 24 maybe, 22, 23, and I used to make like what I thought was pretty good money at the time, you know.
Yeah.
But I was working like crazy hours all the time, and whenever I wasn't working, it would just be like, let's go, like we're like
Yeah,
we're going
yeah.
out like. I remember like one night we went out and we spent like I probably spent like $500-$600 and I can't even tell you on what, just like drinks at the bar and cocaine just because I was just wilding out.
You can kind of
Holy
tell us what it
shit.
was.
Yeah, that's literally what it is, and you're just like you work so hard for this money, and then you never have time to spend it, and you're always just like wound up. So you're just like fuck it, like now that I'm gonna let loose, and you do everything to the extreme. So
It feels deserved. It feels earned.
yeah, it's like
I
I
made it,
earned
yeah.
this rage because of how hard I'm working.
Right. I worked this
So-
hard. I'm going to do this much.
So the one thing like for me is like I was never I'm not like I'm a very I don't know why I don't have like some people have like an addictive personality. I have a very lazy personality. Like I can't get addicted. I'm like addicted to like ice cream. Like that's the most I could do is like because I'm just like a lazy
That's a
person.
great
He's
one.
very addicted to
That's
ice
a
I
great
have a
cream.
serious ice cream addiction. It's
Ate a
very
whole box of frozen Snickers.
I eat
That's the best, though.
bro, they're so good. I eat like a pint of ice cream a night, and I feel zero remorse about it.
Do you work out?
What's up?
Do you work out?
Yeah, pretty consistently. I
Okay,
try to, yeah.
that's. I was like, because if that's all
Jacked.
natural, I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
gonna be
Be
heated.
fucking pissed, dude.
Yeah. So I feel that for sure, like that work hard, party hard syndrome. Like
Yeah.
the harder I work, the harder I party. They go hand in hand for sure.
There's certain addictions though that not everyone gets mad at you for.
right,
Like food addiction, people won't ever bring it up.
no,
never.
That's which is a weird thing that we draw the line because like an alcohol addiction will get you sympathy. Like
Yeah,
people
yeah,
will be like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
it's a serious
Not
problem.
always.
Not always, but it's not as stigmatized. Like you can
Yeah,
fucking like
yeah.
fly off the handle and have a shitty night and be rude to everyone as a drunk, and then like clean up your act for like a week, and everyone's like, all right, have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And not only, but they're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a serious sickness.
Is there
You know, it's a
alcoholism in your
disease.
family?
Um,
Is this coming from a real place? You're thinking
No.
about it too long. It's
not really. Honestly,
not
there's
a
not
quiet
really
thing.
a lot.
But like, yeah, but like, there's a different stigma to alcoholism or alcoholics than there is to like drugs and drug
Yeah,
addiction.
yeah.
For
Like,
sure,
there's
yeah.
definitely a different
For
stigma
sure.
for sure. Like people look at alcohol addiction and they're like, oh, he's an alcoholic. He's got a serious disease. We need to help. People look at drug addiction and they're like, fucking losers
Pieces
on
of
drugs.
shit,
That
miserable
sack of
motherfucker.
shit. He's a terrible human being.
I wish there was a pill people could take that made you feel what it was like to be dope sick.
Man.
Because that would put shit in perspective pretty quick.
Right.
Like,
So-
it's very painful. Again, I don't recommend it, but like,
So how did you switch from like doing like oxys to like the heroin?
they took it away.
They took the oxys.
They
away.
took oxys away, and it was like, it
Who
was
took
almost
it
like a
away?
genius plan. The pharmaceutical company, I believe Purdue Pharmaceutical.
they stopped doing oxys in general.
They stopped making oxys you could snort or shoot. So then it's like, and also like when he came over with that bag of pills, it was like $10 for 40 milligrams. A few years later, 40 milligrams was $40.
Wow.
Heroin's $20 for a bag. So it's just
Okay.
like that was more convenient. Somewhat harder to find at times until you get in. You know what I mean? But like, it was just cheaper and more available, and you could still shoot it, snort it. So where these pills you just had to eat, which is like fine, boring as fuck. But like, yeah, after a while I would just eat them and like.
That was probably around the same time they made anything unsnortable, because I remember they used to make
Yeah.
Adderalls that you could snort.
Yeah.
And we used to snort Adderall, but then they changed the formula to
Yeah.
where you didn't have to snort them anymore.
Oh, we tried. We
But it wasn't,
Everybody tried.
My roommate had Ritalin, and we were like, "No, we're so close," and we were just like smashing it as hard as we
Oh
could.
yeah. The those like barrel ones.
Yeah, they like wouldn't.
Yeah,
they wouldn't crush.
Concerta,
So we just like sort of like the chunks.
Oh,
Yeah, don't do that. Those ones you eat. The barrels you eat. the thin pills you smash. Oh, those tasted so sweet.
yeah.
Wait, what are the
sweet.
barrels? I don't remember what
I'd
they
call
were.
them
They were just
barrels.
little pill. They were just
Yeah,
like
they're
little capsules.
Yeah. The XRs with the little balls in them.
I don't remember.
You can break those fuckers
Yeah,
down.
with the capsules.
I only did it like once. It
When you
was
got the original capsules, you could
before
just,
a
like,
Little Wayne concert, you know.
Oh man.
You did Adderall before Lil Wayne?
No, I did Ritalin
On a school
before
night?
Lil Wayne.
Ritalin is closer to meth than Adderall.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
sure.
Ritalin is like almost the same thing.
Well,
I was
yeah.
really mean to this girl, and I got kicked out of my sorority
drinking
meeting
water?
for a day.
You were in a sorority?
Yeah.
Has this been covered a lot?
We've touched on it. We should tell
Not
you
as
about-
interesting as.
Will you show me pictures later?
Sure.
I gotta see what this Holly's all about.
Trust me, it was.
Sorority noise. Well,
Anyway.
yeah, I can talk about drugs forever. Forever.
So then that's when you got on the. So how long were you on like heroin and like in general?
A long time. The joke I tell is true. It was 3 years when I wrote that joke, but it turned out to be longer. I'll tell you like some interesting stories, or like horror stories, really. You guys know Spencer, right? Spencer and I have a great rapport of like what addiction was like, and like what
Yeah,
we thought
yeah.
was
Spencer here?
Yeah, Spencer
okay.
Cavins, yeah,
Oh,
one of
yeah.
my
Did you
dear
ever,
friends.
like he went through that as well? Like you guys had like similar experiences?
I
or-
mean, yeah, I don't want to put him out like that, but yeah,
okay, sorry,
him and his family are very aware of it, so I'm not like throwing.
Okay, cool,
Yeah,
yeah.
all thousands of people that see this, they'll be fine. He'll be fine with them knowing.
Yeah, we do get
at Spencer
quite the
Cavins on
numbers.
Instagram. At Spencer Cavins on Instagram. No, we just have conversations about like what we thought was normal wasn't at all. Like,
Who's that?
Knock again if you're serious.
was that a gunshot?
I'm gonna go check it out. Tell the story though.
Yeah,
Was
take
the
a
door
peek, would you?
locked?
It's gonna be my buddy Bobby with a bag of OxyContin.
That was a terrifying knock.
Yeah, I don't think that was a person. This could be the last time you see any of us.
He does this all the time, and then he pretends that it was something scary.
Oh, does he really?
And then he goes, ah! And it gets me every time.
It's a package. Okay, thank God.
It is a package for somebody.
Is it for me? Is it my spider costume? Yes.
Oh,
Live
God.
on the
We're
podcast.
we're gonna unpackage this live before the end of the show. I can't wait.
It's gonna be very loud.
So yeah, what were you saying? So you're telling
Oh,
the story.
so
The
just
reaction
what you think is
video.
normal, what isn't. So like, I had a buddy who joined the army, and his first, like, when he went to basic and everything, I was still pretty normal and just like doing coke, drinking, whatever.
Right.
Pretty normal. He came back, we hung out and partied. He left again, you know, and gone for however long those guys are gone for. While he was gone is when I started getting into OxyContin. I went from eating it to snorting it to shooting it.
Right.
So he comes back on leave and he's like, hey man, you know, let's fucking party. You know what I mean? Because those guys get all this money and they can't spend it.
Yeah.
So he's like, let's go fucking party. I was like, great. Just spend the weekend at my house.
Right.
So he's just hanging out on the couch. Everything's normal. My dealer pulls up. I go outside. I grab some pills and I start like, you fucking suck the coating off of it.
Yeah,
wipe
yeah.
it down. I'm bashing it up. And like, we had done pills together before, so he was like not freaked out at all.
Right.
Then I started cooking it up. And like the wave of horror that washed across his face as I'm like getting a needle ready and stuff. And like as I'm hitting, I see like the horror show in his eyes. And I'm like, oh yeah, this isn't sociably acceptable. You can't just do this. You know what I mean?
Right. Just like,
But that's just like the mindset of an addict. Because like who I was hanging with at the time was like, we all shot dope. That's what we did.
That's right.
But then you get around people who don't shoot dope and you shoot dope and they're like, oh.
What kind of conversations do you have when you're on heroin? I'm very curious.
So I get really excited when I'm on heroin. Much more talkative than I am now. I can't sit down much more than I can now.
Oh, I thought it like makes you like really drowsy.
Normally it does. Normally it does, but it just makes me feel excited about life.
Interesting.
Yeah, like I don't get like that's a good way to tell if like you're an addict. Like I have friends who tried heroin and they like puked and slept and they're like, I'm never doing that again, right?
Right.
I got excited and like wanted to do shit and like talk and pace around and smoke cigarettes and smoke weed and like just stay up. Like when I did meth, I got like really clammy and quiet.
Which is weird because like,
I'm
I
allergic to
should've thought
drugs.
Those would have been the opposite.
Right, I'm allergic to drugs. Yeah.
like that's backward because like I mean I guess meth I could see how you did that. I did meth one time on accident.
A lot of people have that story. Yeah.
It happens.
What was it supposed to be? Coke?
It was supposed to be coke. I thought it was cocaine, and they passed it to me, and then it turns out it was not cocaine. It was meth.
How quickly did you know something was wrong when you felt the burning in your goddamn
Well,
nose?
that and because like normally like you do cocaine and you start feeling the drip and you start feeling that, and I didn't feel any of that, but I was like I'm hyper alert and like cocaine. The one thing about cocaine is like after like 15 minutes you're like let me find more cocaine.
Meth, you're in it.
Meth, I was just in it the rest of the night. I was just like there, like I'm just like.
Did it burn? Did it like burn really bad?
It burnt a lot when I first did it. I was like, what kind of cocaine is this? And he's like, nah, that's not cocaine, bro. That's that crystal. I was like,
Oh
the fuck?
no!
And then we were just sitting there, bro. I was out, and I was just like, the whole night, I was just like hype the fuck. It was a weird ass feeling, and I didn't even. I was like, after that, I was like, nah, dude, I'm good on all of that.
Your eyes get into the next room before you do. Like you're fucking,
Yeah,
you're
my
fucking
eyes
bulged
were
out.
they were bulging the fuck out the whole time, and I'm just like, holy shit, I felt. You know what's crazy though is like you were talking about like Ritalin being close to meth. I was like, it felt very similar. Like
Yeah,
to
it's
that
pretty
feeling.
much one of them. One of those ADD drugs is like the same thing as meth, but obviously cleaner because it wasn't made with like shit from a garage.
Yeah, but the chemical compounds of a lot of those drugs though are very similar to street drugs.
Have you ever seen the documentary Take Your Pills?
No.
It's about like how Adderall and like Ritalin got like introduced to kids and stuff. It's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, I used to want to do a bit on it. I never did about like I couldn't find the funny and it was just like factual that like Adderall turned a generation into like drug dealers and users because most kids I knew that got prescribed Adderall didn't like the way it made them feel and they would sell it.
Mm-hmm.
So it turned like these kids into dope dealers and then people like me would buy their scripts and be all fucked up and like
I heard you like can't like I had a roommate who had an Adderall prescription and she would say like, oh, I can't like crack a joke when I'm on Adderall. Like it makes you really like it takes away your creativity.
It cocaine. I don't remember. There was nothing funny about being on meth. I think you could still laugh, but it was like
I think you could still laugh.
Yeah, I didn't feel very fun on meth.
Really not
yeah,
selling
it's a
it.
different kind. It's really euphoric, and you're like everything's awesome, but it mostly just makes you horny and weird.
Yeah.
Like this is what it does, but it does. Done some fucking pound sessions on that. You can just, it's like a whole day. No, I've never met a girl that's like, will you please fuck me for 18 hours? With like your almost erect dick. Mom, I'm so sorry. You're mostly erect dick. Fucking pushing rope into nowhere. Most girls hate it. They hate it. And by most girls, I mean like the one girl I knew at the time. She hated it.
Was she not on meth?
She was on meth. She was a picker though. She would dig at her skin and I just wanted to fuck.
Oh shit!
So it just never went my way. Picking, I always lost to the picking, and she always lost to like. I would just be like, all right, I'll just watch porn. Fuck it, I don't care. And that was like most of my time in Minnesota was that. What were we talking about? But it I think it takes away empathy. Like,
okay.
have you ever had somebody on coke like talk your fucking ear off and your body, everything in your body language is saying like, yeah, shut the fuck up, leave me alone. You can't read it.
Right.
So like you can't be funny either. You can't pick up on body language and stuff like.
Yeah.
Which is weird because like there's the exact opposite feeling like when I do like mushrooms or acid.
Yeah, because
Like,
that kills the ego.
Yeah, I feel like those drugs I have a hypersensitivity to like empathy, like to empathetic.
Yeah.
It's almost like people don't even have to say what they're feeling. I can just like feel what they're feeling
Right.
with them in like a weird way. It's really interesting.
Have you done acid?
No. I've done coke though. One time I was at my friend's, I think it was her 23rd birthday or something. We were at a club in Boston and we found cocaine because I was like in my head I was like drunk and I was like, you know what she needs for her birthday? Cocaine. So I like asked a bunch of random dudes and some guy like smuggled a contact lens case full of coke into my
Not a lot, by the way.
tits. And then
That's
I was
a small amount of cocaine.
yeah, it's not a lot. And then he told us to give it back to him when we were done. But anyway, long story short,
He needed the container back.
Yeah.
No, I need to put that in my eye.
No, you throw that away.
I take cocaine only in my eyes, bro. That'd be
Yeah.
so fucking burnt.
How much? What was your first? What did you draw? Like it's your first line of cocaine ever. Like, what did you do?
Probably I didn't do a
Like
lot.
a tiny little bit.
This wasn't my first, but like it wasn't. I usually did like key bumps. Like I was a pussy. I didn't do a lot.
It drives me nuts.
Oh,
It drives me nuts.
Bro, you got an
When I'm
alligator
hanging out in
tail.
green rooms and they're doing key bumps, I'm like, you guys are fucking amateurs. Fucking dump that shit out.
Chop up some lines
Yeah.
and go. If you're gonna really do it, like the first time I ever did cocaine, I was almost like wobbling, can't stand up, drunk. And we went to this kid's house, and I'll never forget this night, man. This kid railed out some alligator tails. I'm talking lines that were like this fat, bro.
Half gram gackers,
It
baby.
took me like 10 minutes to do a whole line. Like I was just like I just kept going. I couldn't do it, man. They're all like laughing at me, bro. I hit that line. By the end of it, I went from being like fucked up to being completely sober. I could have passed any sobriety test. I was like, oh, I'm ready. I'm like, oh, this is why people love cocaine.
Yeah.
Like, I was like fucked up.
I don't know that you would have actually passed.
Oh no, I was fucked up, but I felt like it.
Same thing with acid is like you're so connected and you feel for things and like, did you ever write?
Yeah, yeah.
You read it later and you're like, oh, this doesn't make a fucking lick of sense.
No.
It's a different world, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember leaving a trip one time being like, yes, I've got it figured out. This is how I'm going to get my life together. And then when I read it, I'm like, this isn't even English. What is this? These aren't even words.
Just like a drawing of like a dragon.
I just remember I was watching ants like on the ground and I was like, oh, like I don't even know what I was thinking. But I was like, they work hard and they're doing like I just like it made sense at the time. Totally, maybe it would make sense, you know, if I was
That holds up. Ants
enlightened.
do work hard.
You know what? But I don't know, man. One time I did take acid with this girl. I took 3 tabs of acid, most I've ever taken at one time. And yeah, this girl only took one. And like we just hung out, and we hung out on her bed, and just laughed and had sex on and off for like 10 hours straight, bro.
Was sex on acid hard?
What's up?
Was sex on acid hard?
I wasn't hard.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. It went up and down, bro. Like
It's so easy to get your feelings hurt on acid too, though. Like if anything's like scary, you're like you feel it intensely.
Yeah,
that's why I was curious.
You're hypersensitive to everything.
Yeah.
But like that's why I like when I like to do it, whenever I do it, it's always got to be in a very controlled environment because I don't want anybody bringing any like negative energy into my space, especially in that because you're so hypersensitive to it. Like any wrong thing and it just takes you like into a downturn.
You gotta have.
I'm already hypersensitive, so
I would never do acid or mushrooms with you. Maybe I would microdose, but that'd be like the furthest.
No, you gotta have like a down ass friend.
Yeah, you
like,
gotta be with
I
somebody
would do it
close.
with one other person. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't do it with you, Holly. You think of way too many things that would just be fucking up my vibe.
You have to
That's
start
hurtful.
with a laugh.
Yeah, you have
to
like,
start the trip with a laugh.
and it has to be generally like everything you do has to be like generally on like the positive side. Like it has to be like
yeah, you
even,
can't like sharpen knives.
yeah anything like yeah.
damn it, that was first on my.
She was gonna
my
do.
I always
agenda.
just put on Family Guy, even if people are like, "Oh, Family Guy's stupid." I'm like, "No, this is the best way to start because you're going to be laughing uncontrollably, and then like the world is yours."
Yeah.
But if you start off like, "Let's put on a horror movie," like, don't.
No, you're
Who
Don't
would do that? Who would do that?
Girls,
It's hard to get
girls
out of
like
the-
horror. I don't know.
It's hard to get out of the
No,
rabbit
not
hole.
me,
for
not
sure.
this girl.
So how did you get out of the rabbit hole then? Of like once you
I've
went
only
down the path?
I've only had one bad trip on acid. It's a short story on acid. Mushrooms. We bought mushrooms from a guy, a dude we knew, and he like gave us a great warning of like, this is really powerful. Only eat a little bit. But I was like,
Pussy.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
So I ate a
right.
quarter.
As you should.
I ate a quarter. Everyone else split an eighth. But I had been doing like mushrooms like every other day. I've done every drug as hard as you can do it,
Right.
and except for PCP.
I have standards.
No. I've done PCP on accident. And I was like, this isn't right. This is not. I don't know who that's fun for. It wasn't for me. And I was listening to. We're about water, and water's great when you're tripping. Water's amazing.
Yeah, water's
you just
nice,
watch it
yeah.
swirl around, and you're like, what? Stars are great. You're like, what?
Yup.
Nothing will compare to stars on mushrooms. You're like,
For sure.
They're dancing for me.
Bro, they're
dancing for me.
They're twinkling.
They're not. They're just up there. But we took them and we were just sitting and waiting. You know, like when it like acid's a little more aggressive. Mushrooms, you're kind of like, is it gonna? When are we gonna?
Yeah.
Fuck? And then you're like,
Right.
oh, my stomach, my
Right.
stomach. maybe I'd say acid is cleaner. It's not as like painful in the gut.
No, it's not. Yeah,
Yeah.
mushrooms like poisons your stomach almost. So it's like it's almost like that's where it comes from. Is that like stomach sickness? So you get
You're
a
like,
little
fuck.
Yeah. The weird thing is, the worst part is, I one time had to take a shit on acid, and I
I've been
didn't.
there, buddy, brother.
But I didn't even know if I should or not. And then I looked in the toilet. I was like, "Oh, I've lost my whole life in this, bro. You can't feel anything."
It's a great feeling though. You're
yeah.
like,
It's a weird. It's a weird.
take
thing.
a shit on acid, Holly. Do
If you
yourself.
do acid, drop it.
I'm learning a lot. I'm gonna take
You're gonna
notes.
love it. So then, so how did you how did you finally like stop, or like what was your like prompting to like stop doing drugs or like get clean?
Okay, so we'll tie it all together. I did comedy for 3 months. My grandfather was a member of AA. I knew he was sober. I didn't know what AA was yet. I told him I needed help. He got me into treatment when I was 24. I put together 11 months. And like in that 11 months, I started doing comedy again, and that's when I like started to like do comedy.
Yeah.
But then I relapsed and like hid it from people. And I was doing comedy and getting high, and doing comedy and getting high. Right. This is 2011.
So how long was the relapse?
On and off for a while.
Yeah.
So from like 2011 till last year, it was back and forth and back and forth.
Okay,
and back
I
and forth.
see.
Yeah. And if you're out there and you're on the fence, just pick one or the other, because like being 1 foot in sobriety and 1 foot into using, like, oh, so fucking just painful and turbulent. Like just committing to addiction sucks, right? One of the worst things I've ever experienced, but at least I'm in it.
Right.
Committing to sobriety, best thing ever, right? But doing both back and forth is just like, it's a vicious cycle of like, I would put together some time and then get high, and put together some time and get high. And I'm talking like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever, right?
Right.
So then like, and that went on till in 2017, I had a crazy meth psychotic episode, a story you've maybe heard me tell on stage, where I just went completely fucking bonkers, and I was like, all right, I think I'm gonna start going to meetings again. And that was in Colorado. So from like 2017 till 2020, I was like really like trying, like really wanted to be clean, right? So it took a while, and it's like not uncommon to like struggle with it, because like it's just hard, man.
Yeah, it gets that.
But like last year, August, I was living with a guy who was an NA, and I couldn't stop using. And he was like, you just can't fucking live here, right? Which makes total sense, right?
Yeah, right.
He's got 5 years clean. I'm fucking doing his drug of choice every other weekend or whatever. And like that was the stuff that had PCP. I went to rehab twice last year, and in the first rehab, they drug tested me, and they were like, well, what's going to be in your system? And I was like, just meth. I only do meth, right? I took the test, and they're like, why did you lie to us? I was like, I didn't. And they were like, you failed for meth, MDMA, and PCP. And I was like, what? Which explains so much of like, I remember seeing my roommate in the apartment, knowing he's in San Antonio, and calling him and being like, hey, are you home right now? And he'd be like, oh boy. Like, I would see people. I destroyed my room. I did everything. Like I just fucking.
Wait, you saw you like hallucinated your roommate being?
I
home?
hallucinated many a folk. Many people. I've been 3 people at once before having a conversation, and I would be like, all right, you're not an old black dude sitting in a rocking chair. You're yourself. And I would
calm down. You ain't an old.
Wait,
black.
you thought
No, I wasn't.
you thought you were an old black dude sitting in a
well,
rocking
no, but
chair?
meth creates schizophrenia. So
Oh,
I would
wow.
I would be thinking I was talking to an old black guy, and then like somebody else, I forget who the other person was.
And there would just be nobody there.
It would be nobody there, and I'd be like in my mind, I'm hearing this person talking, hearing this person, they're talking, but really,
my
I'm all
God.
3 people.
Nope.
Meth psychosis is when you Eddie
Pass.
Murphy your whole life.
Medea's family reunion.
Yeah. I gotta write that
I
down.
can tell the
I gotta write that down.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. You're the nutty professor. I actually had I was going through it bad when I finally got clean and stayed clean. I was getting kicked out of this house respectively, right? And I was going to move into sober living. And I had like 11 days clean, and I was like, I got to do is make it 2 more weeks till I move into sober living. Couldn't keep it together. Went to a hotel in Georgetown, Texas, and did what turned out to be the last dope I've done, right? I picked up a half gram, and it wasn't that exciting. And it was, if you're a sports fan, if you remember two finals ago, it was a weird time of the year because of COVID. It wasn't in spring, it was in fall.
Yeah.
And the Bucks were getting destroyed by the Heat.
Yep.
destroyed by the heat. I remember watching the game. I wasn't watching the game. The TV in the room didn't work. And,
You thought you were watching.
I was. And Dante DiVincenzo for the Bucks hit a game winner, but the refs didn't see it. And I was like, again, none of this happened. He hit a game winner, and the refs were like, we didn't see it. It doesn't count. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever seen. It's the fucking playoffs, and you're not watching the shot. And then the show, which isn't on, followed Dante into his regular life. And at no point did I think, like, I'm fucking insane right now. So for the rest of the night, I had to remind myself. I'd be like, it's just me in this room. There's nobody else in here. This is my hotel room. It's just me in this room. It's me, Chris Middleton. Yeah, and I was like, and I was naming like players on the team. I thought they were in this room with me, and I just was so psychotic. And then the next morning, like I checked my bank account, like it was over. I had no money. I couldn't get another night, and I had to leave Georgetown to get to Round Rock where my sister lived. Couldn't get a hold of her on the phone. I know how to get to her house now, but at the time I'd only been there a handful of times. Don't know how to get there. Right. I don't know the address, and like I'm just driving on 35 south from Georgetown in a car with everything I own in it. Everything. It's all in there, right? I don't have air conditioning in my car. It's the end of August.
Oh, man.
Windows are down. I'm pouring fucking sweat. Something about that unclogged my sinuses, and whatever little bit of dope I thought I had that didn't really work fucking jammed up in there. So now I'm bonkers. I pull into a hotel, and I'm thinking, like, maybe I can overdraft my credit card. Like, maybe get $200 or something.
Right.
And fucking get a room. And while I'm doing that, like, there's a guy in the corner of my eye. This guy's very real, and he's a cop. He's like, hey, what are you doing there? And I was like, and like, I know I move around a lot sober, but like, I was fucking in it. He was very scared of me, and like, to speed this up, speed. When I woke up, when I came to in that hotel room that morning, I told myself two things. Was it two things? I told myself, no matter what happens today, just tell the truth. Like, just tell the truth. So when the cop came to the window, I was like, I'm high on meth. I was like, I don't have any drugs on me. I don't have anywhere to go. I'm supposed to go into sober living. I fucked that up. I'm trying to get to my sister's house. He's like, all right, can we search your vehicle? And I was like, yeah, have at it. He's like, if we don't find anything, we'll let somebody come pick you up.
Oh, no.
They searched the whole car, didn't find anything. To jump forward and then back to Tarantino, the story. When I finally got my car back after rehab and went into sober living, there was a needle in my trunk that they didn't find. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, grace of God, like, they didn't find it. Yeah, and we just threw it in the woods. But anyways, can't bring that into sober living. And like,
what's all these needles doing?
And it was just like, I don't know if it was because it was so hot that day or if they felt sorry for me.
It was like a crochet needle? No, just kidding.
Yeah. Very hard to use. But very hard to use.
You ever tried knitting with the cocaine, with the heroin needle?
Very challenging. If you could do that, send me at Ian John Comic on Instagram. Send me you knitting with syringes. You can be diabetic. You don't have to be whatever. Anyways, I gotta go soon. Anyways, I went to my sister's house for 4 days to kick, and like while I was there, I was such a nightmare. Like going through it, like I was hallucinating so much, yelling and screaming, and just like all this crazy shit. I actually had an episode where I was like passed out and like dreaming that I was in a green room hanging out with Bernie Mac and the cast of The Nutty Professor. Bernie Mac's not alive, and I have never been at a point in comedy where I would be doing a show with Bernie Mac. Never. Even if he was alive, never. I'm not going to be in there.
I love how the cast of The Nutty Professor, like, it's not just all Eddie Murphy.
Right. But no, it was each individual person.
Yeah, with the theme of just more people being there.
That's why I said that. Yeah. And my sister was like, I don't know what to do with this guy. She called the people from my sober living, told them what actually happened. And they were like, they run like a transitional rehab and then into the sober living. And I went there. And when I got there, I was just so fucking broken that I was like, I'll do whatever these people say. And like worked all the steps, got sober. And like, you know, like you guys know me now, like with my life being awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just like, you know, just fucking seeing people that don't exist, it's just not fun. I've had people be like, who are you talking to? I'm like, I'm talking to, and then you're like, oh, there's no old black guy in a rocking chair.
Bernie Mac isn't here.
Bernie Mac is not here. I guess I just hallucinate black people. I don't know why.
You should.
I'm here.
I know.
Do you
This
write?
black person is here.
I know.
No, he's a
Ben, you're very real. We've met before.
Ian, you know I live alone, right?
Oh no.
There's not even a single black guy.
Plot twist.
This is at least a podcast, right?
No,
How
you're
crazy would
actually
it be to
still in
watch
line
this
at
and
the
it's just me?
DMV.
It's just me.
So yeah, we can wrap to close things down.
You're
Yeah, I
actually,
gotta
yeah.
show. Yeah.
So any last final words? Anything where we can find you or anything you're doing coming out?
Oh
Yeah,
plug, plug.
just oh yeah, we can rip this open too. Just follow me on Instagram, Ian John Comic, IanJohnComic. I run a show in Austin every Monday at WTF Ice House on 6th Street at 7:30 and 10:30. I'll have both of you on it. Do it at the same time. I
Great
love
show.
it. And then Baker Street Pub on South Lamar every Tuesday at 8. And
Great shows, both of them. Check them out.
Yeah,
Follow
yeah.
Ian. This is super dope.
let's see. And thank you guys so much for having me. Let's see.
Thank you for coming. Now we can watch the unveiling of Holly's Halloween costume.
Let's see what this is. Yeah,
It's a spider.
it's a tarantula.
Yeah, it's a tarantula suit.
I like how you said that's so
It's
New England.
Not even that soft.
It's a spider.
All right, so here's the reaction.
That's what you went for.
Hey guys, yeah, I wanted to be sexy.
So this is
That's why. That's the confusion. Yeah.
this is what she's supposed to look like. By the way, this is it.
Oh, what did that cost you?
You don't want to know.
Oh my god, you're right. I don't. Is that a full shift right there? Is that a full shift of waiting tables?
It is. It's also You could get all
The
the.
eyes are a lot bigger than I thought they were gonna be. Oh wow, this is a full thing.
Yeah, you didn't see that by this picture that it looks like a full thing.
What did you think it was gonna be?
Oh wait, it doesn't zip. Oh, it doesn't.
It does zip. What else would it do?
All right, guys.
Oh yeah. You put it on.
You gotta put it on quick.
Oh, you gotta put it on.
You know what's funny about this is I need someone to give me a ride to my car because I couldn't find your building.
Yeah.
Only if you dress as a spider the whole time.
Oh snap! These.
Well, I think this was a good use of my paycheck.
Yeah, no, it looks great.
Yeah, but get this hood out.
Put the hood on. Yeah. Perfect.
It's so scary.
My Halloween costumes when you're drunk.
Okay.
Yo, well, this has been real. Check us out at Lonely Man's /
Yeah, this is great.
Patreon. You can get other episodes that we have on there. Thank y'all for listening. We love you guys. Enjoy this costume.
You're very
Thank
welcome.
you, Ian John.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, old black guy.
Thank you, Bernie Mac. Thank you, Eddie Murphy from the Clumps.
Oh, the clubs. You're very right.
Hey, y'all be easy, man. Peace.